So just before I end the vlog for this week, I kind of wanted to just talk quickly about one topic that's been going around Twitter a lot this week, which is the topic of cosplay and influencer culture. So you might have seen there was a thread made earlier this week, this is the original thread here, about basically the way that cosplay has evolved to become more like mainstream influencer culture. If you want to read the original thread, it is there. I will say though that I think the person's got quite a lot of attention from this now, so if you do want to make your own opinions on it, I would probably suggest making your own thread about that instead of adding to the original one, because I don't think this person made this threads with bad intentions. I think it seems to just come from a place of personal frustration, which I do totally get. But yeah, I myself made a few tweets about this in the past. It didn't get anywhere near as much attention as this or anything, but it is something I do feel quite strongly about, and I think I have quite a lot to say on it. So I think maybe at some point in the future I would like to make a full video on that. But for now, I'll just give you my thoughts. This isn't scripted or anything, so I'll probably have tons of cuts in here. It was just quicker than me making my own tweets on this topic because I couldn't be bothered really. But yeah, I think there are good and bad sides to this. I think cosplay has definitely become a lot more mainstream in the recent years. You know, for example, if you mention cosplay to someone, they'll probably know what you mean, as in just the word itself. Like in the past, I will always have just used dressing up, or I will just say that I make costumes to explain what I do instead of using the word cosplay itself. So it's nice that it's more mainstream in that sense, but I think the person was essentially talking about the fact that a lot of people seem to just use cosplay only to promote themselves as a brand. And that's something I've been guilty of, and it's something I've always kind of had the goal of doing since I started cosplay. Maybe not since the beginning, but for quite a few years now. And for me, thankfully, that's worked out in my favour, and you know, I've started doing cosplay full time this year, which I'm still so grateful for. But there are also people who just do cosplay for fun and as a hobby, and I think both are entirely valid. Like, I've got friends that treat cosplay in both ways, and I think there's nothing wrong with either way. I think that we, you know, as someone who does take it seriously as a job, I think that we also need the people who do it just for fun to sort of remind ourselves not to take it too seriously, because, you know, as much as that is a job for me now, it is still a hobby and I should still enjoy that. So I think both are valid, but I think in this thread the person kind of said that people who do take it seriously look down on those that don't, and look down on those that do just do it for fun, which for me, that's definitely not the case. I really don't care if you have cosplay as a job or if you do it just for fun. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, you know, cosplay is yours to enjoy and interpret in your own way entirely, and because it is more mainstream now, there are so many different ways to enjoy cosplay. There isn't just one right or wrong way to do it. So I think that I disagree with that train of thought that people, I mean, maybe some people do think they're superior if they have, you know, high numbers in cosplay, but I don't think that's exclusive to cosplay. I think that's just a social media thing in general, and that is the kind of part that, when I've spoken about it in the past, that I focused on, was that I think that cosplay has become a so-called beauty contest. But I don't think that's exclusive to cosplay. I think that's just, you know, something that can be said about social media in general, and I think you can't disagree with that, because, you know, you look at the people on Instagram with the highest number of followers, and in general it's attractive people. That's just like, not even social media, that's just something in life, you know, pretty privilege is such a thing. And I think that the reason that I brought this up in the context of cosplay was that I think that for a lot of people, cosplay started off as being a very niche sub-community, and I think that it was mostly for unpopular people. And I can say that as someone who was, you know, unpopular growing up in high school and stuff, because, like, I hate using the word nerdy, but it is sort of a celebration of like nerdy things, like, you know, video games, anime. In the past, you weren't cool if you liked anime. Anime is like changed a lot in that like it's almost cool to like anime now. But in the past it wasn't. And I think things like cosplay, it was a way for people to come together who weren't popular and accepted in mainstream society to enjoy something in a very tight-knit niche community that wasn't about popularity. And you know, as far as social media goes, social media didn't really exist back then. Like when I started cosplaying in 2012, Instagram didn't exist, or I think it did, but I wasn't on Instagram. But I think now that it is more mainstream, there is a lot more of the popularity element in it. And I do think that people who started off, you know, joining cosplay many years ago, where it was just the, you know, unpopular people, I can see why they would resent that shift in the cosplay community becoming more about popularity when it didn't used to be about that at all. And I don't blame those people for feeling resentful about that. I do totally get that. And I think for me, the thing I have about the sort of beauty contest thing is that, so for me, I enjoy crafting a lot about cosplay. It's my favourite aspect of cosplay, so that's just my personal feelings. But on the other side, I have no problem with people buying cosplays. I know that's a very controversial kind of thing. Well, I don't think it's as controversial these days, but it's still something that's talked about a lot, you know, making versus buying cosplays. I think making a cosplay or buying cosplay are totally valid. I think nowadays it's a lot easier to buy good quality cosplays, which I think is great. It makes it a lot more accessible to a lot of people. I think it's a positive thing. I buy cosplays myself often now because if I was to try and make every single cosplay that I have on my list, I wouldn't be able to get through it in the next 100 years pretty much. So I think buying cosplays is totally valid and it's a great thing. But for me, if I've made a cosplay, I know that I've put a lot of work into it. I've physically, you know, spent hours making it, and that has nothing to do with the way I look. You know, the finished product maybe, yeah, but the costume itself, that is completely separate from the way I look. So if I get compliments on that costume that I've made, purely just on the costume itself, I feel, you know, I can happily accept those compliments because I feel like I've earned them because I've put in the work, and that is purely just based on my like physical skill and talent, I guess. Whereas if I have bought a cosplay and I've tried it on and I get compliment on that, I feel less deserving of the compliments because in that case it is just based on my looks. And of course it's lovely to receive compliments, you know, that's nice. I would rather receive compliments than hate, of course, but I think I feel more guilty in taking compliments than that because the way I look at it is, and I've tried to explain this to like friends in the past. I'm always hesitant to like talk about this online in case it's perceived in the wrong way, but I'll try and explain it. So say I was to buy a cosplay, I try it on, I do my makeup, put the wig on and everything, and then I get however many likes or compliments on that. You get a second person who does the exact same thing as me, they buy the exact same costume, they put it on, do their makeup, and if that person was to get less likes and comments on that because perhaps they were less like conventionally attractive in the eyes of, you know, the general public, then I don't think that's fair because in that case it is a beauty contest, and I don't think I deserve to get more praise on that just because some people think I'm like more attractive in that costume when this other person has done the exact same thing as me. They've bought the same costume and tried it on, and I don't think it's fair that I get more recognition for that than someone else. Like, you know, as far as like talent goes, there's no more talent in like me doing that than this other person. Whereas if I was to have made that costume and I get more recognition for it, then I feel like I deserve it because I actually, you know, put in hours to make it, and I feel like in that case that I would deserve those compliments. I don't know if I've explained that well, but I don't think that was the point of this person's tweet. I think they were talking about literally just numbers and stuff, and some cosplayers thinking they were better than others just because they had more numbers, which I think is a different topic. Whereas this is just how I feel about it personally. But, you know, if cosplay is just about the way I look, then someday I'm going to lose that, and that is kind of scary and sad to think about. The fact that people might only enjoy my cosplays now because I'm young and like pretty or whatever. But in 20 years time, like if I build myself on that, then no one's going to care about me in 20 years. And I don't like to think about that, but I'm sure that's, like I said, not exclusive to cosplay. That's just, you know, life. But I think that for me to find fulfillment in cosplay, that's why I like the crafting part so much, because, you know, that's almost separate from my identity and my looks. And this is kind of off tangent from the original thread, but I might cut this out or I might leave it in, I don't know. Yeah, I feel strongly about that subject. And again, going back to the original thread, I think you can enjoy cosplay however you want to enjoy it. I think that over the past year with the pandemic, it's been hard because cosplay has existed solely in social media, and I think with social media it is quite tempting to get wrapped up in the numbers. I know I certainly did. Over the past year it has just been online. That's the only interaction we've had with cosplay, and for a lot of people who started cosplaying during the pandemic, they haven't had a chance until, you know, the past few months to even go to a convention and experience cosplay for the way it should be, which is just having fun with friends at a convention. And I've had 2 cons now since restrictions have lifted a bit, and it's been amazing just to experience it in real life again and not just through Instagram or TikTok or whatever. If you are someone who doesn't care as much about social media, that's fine, but there are others out there like me who do place a lot of importance on that because it's our job, and just because we care about it doesn't mean that you have to as well. And I don't look down on anyone who does do it just for fun. I think that you're allowed to enjoy it in whatever way you want to, and I think that's just the bottom line of it, I guess. That's how we should find peace as a community. So yeah, that's my final thoughts on it, I guess. So yeah, thanks for watching the